My name is Tim Hwang. I'm the founder of a conference called RaffleCon. And this is Jonah Peretti, co-founder of BuzzFeed, among other awesome things. I'll let him introduce himself. The panel you'll note on your schedules is noted as Big Data and the Promise of Web Culture, which is extremely broad. So we figured what we'd do today is essentially break it into two 15-minute talks about what I've been working on and what Jonah's been working on lately with regards to manipulating and dealing with kind of large data sets, specifically kind of around social data and kind of viral passage of information and content around. So I think what we're going to do is we'll do two kind of quick 15-minute talks, and then we'll sort of open it up to just sort of a broader discussion. I think the talks will raise a lot of interesting issues, and yeah, I guess we'll go from there. So, Jen, if you want to take it away.
All right, cool, thank you. For about the last 10 years, I've been trying to understand this one big question, which is, why is it that some ideas spread virally to millions of people and other things that seem good in advance kind of fizzle and don't go anywhere? And all of us, in one way or another, are in an industry where making our ideas spread or our content spread or our media spread is the key to success. And if you can do that, you have growth, you have profits, you have internet fame, you have whatever it is you're after. And if you can't do that, you end up kind of stuck. And so to understand this question, for the past 10 years, I've been starting companies. I'm a co-founder of the Huffington Post, and now I'm a co-founder and CEO of BuzzFeed. I have worked on political campaigns, done some consulting, done some research, and just sort of in the next 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to sort of tell you what I've learned about how you make things spread, why certain things spread and other things don't spread. So first, the sort of biggest misconception about viral distribution on the internet is that quality is all that matters. And I hear over and over again, people will say things like, well, the trick to making your thing spread is just make it really high quality, and that thing spread because it's high quality, and the other thing didn't spread because it's not high quality. And the truth is that making something that's really high quality does not magically make it go viral. The best content isn't the most viral content, and the best ideas don't always win. And when I do a little investing as well, and whenever someone pitches a company to me and they say, the reason our strategy for growth is that we're going to do really high quality content, I always know that company's doomed. Because if you think that just making really good high quality content is going to make things popular, you haven't looked at the top 40 list of Billboard's top 40 list recently, and quality is not the key indicator of success. Just to drive this point home, which is higher quality religion, Judaism or Mormonism? So show of hands, who thinks Judaism? Yeah, and how about Mormonism? No, not as many. Well, I think we can. I don't think we need to settle this question here, but I think we can all agree that Judaism, especially on Hanukkah, it's Hanukkah now, we can agree that Judaism is a high quality religion with a long history and a great tradition. But if you look at the performance metrics, you can see that the Jewish population has been pretty much flat since the 1950s. Meanwhile, the Mormons have this nice exponential up and to the right growth curve. And today there's more Mormons in the world than Jews. In just a short period of time, they passed them after thousands of years of opportunity to grow. What this shows is that the Mormons realize that success is really about the idea and a way to spread the idea. And a viral distribution strategy is as important as the idea itself. And so, really as a marketer, an advertiser, a media creator, you should spend half of your time on the idea and at least half of your time on spreading the idea and figuring out a strategy for how you make it spread. And so, how does content spread on the internet? The sort of big three today are Google, Facebook, and Twitter. Those are sort of the three biggest sources of distribution for content. And if I had more time, there's also StumbleUpon and blogs and Reddit and IM and games and email and a bunch of other things to talk about. But for the purpose of this talk, I'll talk about the big three. And so a key point about these three services is that the exact same person actually behaves very differently depending on where they are on the internet. So we like to think of ourselves as these unified selves that have firm, consistent interests. But the truth is the same person will click a link that they might not tweet, and they'll search for something that they might not post on Facebook, and depending on the context, they behave very differently. So I'm going to talk about Google, Facebook, and Twitter and how people behave differently and what they like on these different services. And I get a lot of this from BuzzFeed data. So BuzzFeed has a tracking code on over 160 million unique visitors worth of sites. Sites like TMZ, Huffington Post, Time.com, Funny or Die, a whole bunch of them. So we track how media spreads, and then we also have technology to match content with the right network. So if we see that a piece of content is good at spreading on Facebook, we promote it on Facebook more. If we see it's good at, on Google, we have techniques to promote it on Google more. So let's see quickly what goes viral on Google, Facebook, and Twitter. So what spreads on Google? So this is the image of Heidi Montag, who is a MTV reality TV star who is showing off that like she just had about 24 plastic surgeries, and she's sort of showing off the results. And now this isn't something that you would imagine most people tweeting or posting on Facebook, because you're not really proud that you're looking at this picture. And but it is something that performs incredibly well on Google. So your friends can't see what you search for on Google. Google is really like what you liked when nobody's looking. So you might search for hair transplant procedures, but you wouldn't post that on your Facebook wall. You might search for celebrity gossip, for sex tapes, for how-tos, or if you don't know something and you're kind of ignorant, you'll search to try to get the answer, even though you might not want to be embarrassed to ask your friends that you don't know something. So in this particular example, over 100,000 people searched for Heidi Montag sex tape, landed on a page on BuzzFeed to discover that a Heidi Montag sex tape does not even exist. And so they were searching for this even though it doesn't even exist. And you can see the traffic. This is our viral stats dashboard. You can see that the blue at the bottom represents all the traffic we sent to the post, all the clicks, and the red represents all this viral traffic coming from other sources, and the bulk of it came from Google. So how does this different from Facebook? So what spreads on Facebook? So all your friends see what you share on Facebook. So Facebook is really what you want your friends to think you like. It's not necessarily what you like the most. It's what will make you look like a good guy to all of your friends, right? So you're much more likely to see someone posting about, here's how, join me in helping the people of Haiti, than you are to see people saying, join me in watching this sex tape. And that makes sense. One of them makes you look like a good guy. The other one makes you look like a pervy guy. What works well on Facebook are things like politics. Humor is very social. You like to share a laugh, make your friends laugh. Causes, charities, cool stuff that makes you look like you have good taste. And in this BuzzFeed example is the 100 best signs from the rally to restore sanity. And they're funny, so that helps. They're political, and people can kind of wear this as a badge. If they believe in this cause, or they hate Fox, or they hate Glenn Beck, or whatever, they can wear this as a badge, post it on Facebook, their friends see that they do it. And if you look at the stats, it's incredible, over almost 1 million, I think it's over 1 million now, with huge amounts from Facebook, and people sharing it on Facebook. I kind of want to drink a water, but I'm afraid that can't reach it. All right, there you go. And I'll spill it on my computer. So Twitter is similar to Facebook in that Twitter is public, and people want to tweet about content that they're proud of and that they want their friends to know they're into. But it's also a smaller service. It has more celebrity fan culture. It's a little bit more top-down, where people are worshiping the people they follow. There's more techies and smart people and a little bit more culturally savvy audience. And so it makes sense that these are actually all examples of top things from the last 3 months on BuzzFeed. So it makes sense that the number one thing on Twitter was Lady Gaga doing normal things. You can see Lady Gaga riding the escalator, Lady Gaga going grocery shopping, at dinner, talking on the cell phone. This is a long list of these images, and over 25,000 came from Twitter to see this. And you can see that if you count Twitter plus some of the direct traffic from Twitter clients, it's probably 35,000. But even so, Facebook is almost as close. Like Facebook has probably as much sent as much traffic, but Facebook's a much bigger service. So you can see how this kind of content does still as well on Facebook, does even better on Twitter. So really, like, our sort of secret weapon to understanding what kind of content spreads and to maximizing how much it spreads is big data, which is what we're going to talk more about at this discussion. And our viral analytics measures viral lift in real time, and that allows us to route content. So we can put the content out a few places, see where it's working, and promote it more. And that allows us to try lots of creative ideas. So the goal isn't to replace creativity with technology. The goal is to try many more creative ideas, but have technology show you which ones are working with an audience, and allow you to optimize. So sometimes at this point, people will say to me, okay, but does it work for advertising? Like Heidi Montag, Lady Gaga, Sanity Rally Signs is this kind of extreme content, but can it work if you're doing an advertising campaign? So I'm going to just quickly take you through how BuzzFeed does advertising. The general model is you start with a big idea. So this is one of our clients, GE, and their big idea is the Eco-Imagination campaign. How do you use innovative technologies to make the world greener? And so they have this big idea. Then on BuzzFeed, they launch a whole bunch of creative media related to the idea. So, one on solar roadways, one on decarbonizing the power grid, one on tag your green, a bunch of different ideas. So they try a whole bunch of things. And then we push that out across the web to all these different places, to sites where we have the ability to promote. And we track where it spreads and what kind of people like to share it. And that allows us to optimize so that we can maximize the viral lift. Now, the viral lift, and then they get sort of dashboard showing all the stuff and what's working. Now, the viral lift for the Sanity Rally page was crazy, extreme, many times more viral traffic. But even for advertising, the same principles for viral work. So this is all ad clients of BuzzFeed, and you can see that in some cases they get more than double the organic earned media. In other cases, they're getting 1.5, 1.3. But on average, across a bunch of recent campaigns, for every 100,000 paid clicks, they're getting 60,000 free clicks of people who clicked, thought it was cool, shared it, passed it on. And a lot of that is possible because we are really good at routing content. So here's some of the publishers and brands that we work with. Everything from entertainment companies to liquor companies to consumer product companies, and GE and big sort of brands that have branded media and want to spread them and share them. So I guess to conclude, the sort of main sort of takeaways is that quality in itself isn't a growth strategy. You should have integrity so that you care about quality because you have integrity, but you shouldn't think that that's your distribution strategy. You should understand how people behave on different platforms so you can make sure that you put your creative ideas the place where they have the best chance of spreading. And then you should use real-time data to adjust your strategy based on how real people interact with your media. And this is, I think, important to the theme of this whole conference of Respect the Internet, which is, if you're forcing something and you get your data feedback and nobody's sharing it, and nobody likes it, even if you're getting a lot of impressions and you're like, oh, we're getting all these CPMs, nobody likes it because nobody's sharing it. And so if you want to respect the internet, you should see what people on the internet are doing, and you should adapt to it, and your strategy should reflect what people actually are doing and how they're actually behaving. And then finally, viral is a relative term, and even ad content can get a viral lift. It's just a question of how much of a viral lift. And I think that sometimes brands get stuck in this conundrum where they say, I need to make something that is the most viral thing in the world, whereas if they can just double their ROI by making something that has a 2x viral lift or even get 1.3x viral lift, they're respecting the internet, they're spending and using their budgets, which is something that brands uniquely have, but they're also getting this organic word of mouth and pass along, which is sort of the most valuable thing that you can get. So that's sort of like what I've been sort of thinking on, working on in the last sort of 8 to 10 years.
Cool. So do we maybe want to take 1 or 2 questions while I get this all hooked in on my side?
Do we need to trade places, do you think?
No, it should be good.
You can reach.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. So if there's any questions, feel free to jump on.
Yeah, does anyone have a question? Yeah.